All right. And if that is you, my friends, I am going to do everything I can to teach you the system that took me from literally making 50K a year to running a seven and multiple 7 and 8 figure businesses and totally changing my life. I have everything that I've ever wanted, and I know you guys can do it too. So let's get into it. So we're going to start talking about product selection. Most people completely jack this up because they essentially follow a herd off of a cliff by going to Kalo data and finding a product that everyone else and their dog are running to, and it is just the exact wrong way to get started, is to compete with every single other drop shipper. You want to be what's called a contrarian. So when everybody is going left, you want to go right. Some of the most profitable businesses that I've started and that I consult with or help grow are passion businesses. So before you roll your eyes, this is something that sounds counterintuitive, which is why it works, right? So hobby businesses have three distinct advantages, right? So they are, number one, hobby businesses are incredibly, people are incredibly, and they're willing to pay more because logic doesn't always apply, whether it's, golf, tennis, custom cars, collectibles. Like, people are irrational and they are willing to pay a premium for that. So that is the first one. And then the second is lower price sensitivity, meaning, again, these people are looking for the best golf club, the best custom car. They're very much looking to get dopamine from their hobby, which is not rational. It's a fun, exciting thing for them. So it's not like they're comparing, shampoo, and they're looking at ingredients, they're looking at, before and afters. Like, this is very much like they are so freaking excited about this hobby that they almost don't think straight. They just want the best one so they can show their buddies and whatever. So it is an extremely, extremely profitable niche for that reason as well. And the third, that you have a built-in community audience to market to. So think, Reddit communities, Facebook pages, Facebook groups. It's very easy to find these people because they raise their hand and say, I identify as this hobby. I'm in this golf Reddit community or this custom car Reddit community. So it's easy for Facebook to find these people. You can obviously always, my brands are on Reddit as well, which you can really get hyper focused on finding these niches. But anyway, those three key reasons are exactly why hobby niches are hugely valuable, and they are crushing it right now for the brands that I run and help in 2026. Like, in January, we have crazy ROAS on Meta when a lot of other brands are struggling on these hobby niches. So it pays if you can find the right one versus finding a supplement that's hot on Kalo data and everyone else is trying to get into it. And it's just, it's a race to the bottom. You're following everybody else. Whereas these other hobby niches, they're more like old school. They're time tested. Like, you get the right thing in front of the right person with the right message, and they're going to buy all day long. So coming back to me, what did I do? I went very deep into a hobby niche. I am not going to tell you guys what brand I'm running because I don't want 5,000 people copying me, but I will share the exact framework that I used and how I went about building this store and others and helping others scale their stores. And most of you skip this step because you just are in a hurry to build a store and start running ads and ripping ads. And I promise you that you're burning money from doing that. So what I did was I actually validated first. So my framework is go deep, do the proper research, find a niche you think is really going to work based on strong signal that we'll go over, and then validate the test. So something that I always do is I either do a dry run, is what I call, or a very small minimum order quantity. So, the first thing that I do is I message probably 20 suppliers, right? So I have this model where I put together a templated like 2 paragraph, what I'm looking to do, why, what colors I'm interested in, what quality, where I'm located. And I essentially fire that out to as many reputable manufacturers as I can. And what happens is if I send 20, I will get maybe 10 responses, maybe, 8 responses in a timely manner. And then from those 8, I'll request samples. And I'll typically request as many samples as I can. That's kind of a trick that I've always used is, I have a big team. I know you guys don't like, sending a ton of samples, but please send me like 10 samples or whatever. It costs me a few extra dollars, but what happens is if I request 8, I might get 4 people to actually send me samples. 2 of them are really quick. They communicate well. They send the tracking numbers really quickly, and they're just great to work with. And then maybe 1 has the quality that I was looking for and answers questions when I send back questions to them. So, it sounds kind of simplistic, but I've literally used it for the last 10 years and it's worked every time, because what I've found is the suppliers that message well from the get-go, they ship timely, they answer questions after you get it. Those people consistently are there every day when I have questions and ship things on time, for the next several years. So versus the people that don't, obviously they're hit and miss and you can't build a business around that. So it sounds overly simplistic, but I promise you, if you're just going straight to one supplier, the likelihood of you getting burned is really high. So I would take that advice and I would message many, many suppliers, and I would whittle it down to the people that ship fast, communicate well. And then what I do is then I start building a really, really strong PDP. And let me back up. I think one thing that I didn't note is quality. It is very, very important to choose quality from a manufacturer. Obviously, it's very tempting to go with the cheapest, but I promise you that will cause you more issues down the road. You don't want to build a business where you're getting pissed off people because the visuals on your website are great, but the product is garbage. It doesn't fit right. It's clunky. It's not made well. It only worked for 3 weeks and then it doesn't turn on anymore. That will be a pain in your ass that you will not want to deal with. You want to just focus at that point. You want to focus on ads and scaling your business and knowing that you're not going to get chargebacks and refund requests from customers that are not happy with the product. Especially in 2026, you'll get bad Trustpilot reviews. Now with ChatGPT, the consumers are so much more educated than they've ever been. So you can't afford to do things wrong. In 2026, your product quality has to be super, super high. So I think that's extremely, extremely important from a pricing strategy. You can always, like I talked about before, you can always increase AOV as brand reputation improves. You can always increase AOV with clever bundling on the PDP. You can increase AOV with post-purchase upsells and welcome flow upsells. But what you can't do is build a strong business around shitty product. Like your customer service person will hate you. You'll hate your business. It'll be a nightmare. So definitely do me a solid and pick a great supplier. It's not worth it. I can assure you that. It's about is building a product store. So you need a fantastic PDP. Let me show you an example. All right, so I chose Avi. Ash is a decent, I like their site. I know the guys that do their CRO, they are always testing things. But so a big thing when you start, you don't need 1,000 pages. You don't need to start with listicles. You don't need to start with advertorials. What you need is a fantastic best-in-class PDP. And then you need to iterate that over time. And I'll explain exactly what I mean. So everything above the fold is crucial. Mobile device is even more crucial, but for the sake of large visuals, this is going to help. So a few things of note, and I've got a ton of notes on this, but you want to have it be obvious. So the product should show up. It should be very easy to understand what the product benefit is. So what it is, what it does for you. So collagen, burn elite, all-in-one metabolism, fat burn, and beauty supplement. So they nailed it, right? What you get, so 30-day supply, 60-day supply, 90-day supply, you definitely want to incentivize for higher purchase. So they can spend more on Meta if they get a larger percentage of people to buy this, which is why it is a tiered discount. So that is extremely, extremely important. So you also want to, if you're in this monthly recurring revenue niche, you want to incentivize for people to subscribe and save. This means higher LTV on the back end, which really enhances how much you can spend on Meta and how much your business ultimately can make and ultimately is worth. So very, very important that this is easily set out. And the other things you need are, what happens if I don't like it? Well, I can cancel anytime, money back guarantee, exclusive discounts, free shipping. And the other thing that I don't see here is how soon can I get it, right? Amazon, the days of Amazon have programmed us to, scroll Amazon and say, well, this thing comes in 4 days. This thing comes tomorrow morning. I'm going to buy the thing that comes tomorrow morning. So like it or not, the consumers are programmed to want things quickly, and more so, they want to know when they're getting the thing. So I would always have, order by like 5 p.m. EST and receive by, certain date. And that can be conditional logic. So it changes every day. So that is super important. FAQs you want to have below here. We call these thumbnails. So you want to have great thumbnails that explain, nutrition facts are big, just all the benefits, lifestyle shots, et cetera, just selling them the version of themselves that will come to light once they have this product. And then, you can find essentially a best-in-class version of this PDP in any niche now, so I would find the few that exist in your niche and look at what they're doing. Don't just blatantly copy, but try to understand why they're doing what they're doing and why it's working, because companies like this have tested with millions of transactions. And so just start to understand, what should I expect? That's obviously at top of everyone's mind. If I'm going to buy a weight loss supplement, what's in it for me? How fast will I see results? More about the product. This is great. Anything that's dynamic, either videos, GIFs, anything that's interactive always works well. This in a weight loss niche is super important. These guys are big on community, which you don't need to do. They didn't do for a while, and then product upsells. I would not recommend this when you're just starting. You want everything to be focused on just buying that one thing. And once we get profitable at buying that one thing, we can sell people more things. So this is a more built out long-term company that's been around for a while. So that's why I say don't just blatantly copy, because if you're a young company, you probably don't have all these pages built out perfectly. And if somebody clicks off, they're not going to see the best experience and they're likely going to bounce. The other trick that I use is removing these top navs from your PDP when you have a new site and everything isn't built out. It's better to just have people focus on this. Should I buy it? Should I not? Don't give them a bunch of rabbit holes to go down when you start. That will lower conversion rate. And most of the time, if you go on these guys' Meta ad library and click their ads, they typically don't have a navigation. I went to their website and just found this page. So I didn't come in through an ad. So that's a kind of a best in class tip as well. The last one I didn't talk about is social proof. If you're new, you got to really work hard at this, and don't lie. You can get sued. But I would when I start a business, I will send samples of products to friends and family. I will say, free product in exchange for a review, a photo holding the product. So you can try to get as many reviews as you can. And what I would also do is I would remove the number of reviews. So I would keep 5-star, and then I would have this clickable to go down to these reviews. And then I would have, don't use a widget because it'll again show the amount of reviews, but I would just have big, I would have Sarah, like my Aunt Sarah holding the product, her review, another big one from my cousin Susie, whatever, with her review. So you build it out to make it look like it's meaningful without having thousands of reviews that you won't have for a while. So after you get to, depending on your product niche, 25, 50, that's when you would want to put the number of reviews here. So I think that's a safe bet. And then along the lines of landing page, this is super. Everyone that I coach makes this mistake where they are spending $50 a day, they're starting to get a little traction, and then they make an advertorial. And the problem is when you are new and just getting started, you're not intimately, you're not spending enough for one. So you need to keep Meta very focused on giving you people that can go to this one page about this one product and convert. So the last thing you want to do is give Meta multiple pages to try to learn who's going to convert on which pages. And so what I've found works extremely well if people can stay focused is once we start building out Meta, we test different avatars, we test different hooks, we test different desires. And over time, we will find different things work better. And like, let's say women that are blonde in their 30s convert better from Meta than any other females that we tested. Well, guess what's going on this page? Blonde females that are in their 30s. And then, maybe a certain messaging works best. And guess what's going here is the best messaging test from Meta. So you can see where in my earlier 6-month example, if you just stay focused and you work this system that I'm outlining for you, you will get compounded learnings and feedback loops, and you will get better and better and better. If you jump to a crap ton of landing pages, you test everything under the sun, you're jumping products, you're not going to win this game. You have to be hyper focused. So every week we're learning on Meta, we're seeing what works, and we're updating this page. So it's better and better and better over time. The conversion rate goes up over time. And then maybe when you're spending over $1,000 a day, you experiment with a pre-lander, a listicle, or an advertorial, because then we know that blonde women in their 30s with this messaging, these color patterns, these call outs, these pain points, that's what's converting. And that's when we would build those other pages to try to get an additional boost in conversion rate. All right, the other thing that I want to make sure, and this is an advanced tactic, it's not that hard to do, but a lot of newcomers to e-com and dropshipping don't know about it or haven't thought about it yet. And that is cart upsells and post-purchase upsells. Now, there's a reason when you go to the gas station, there's a bunch of shit that they try to sell you before and after checkout or at the checkout. So they have tested this, a crazy amount of times and found that adding these here gives them an extra lift. And then once you check out, after you check out, you'll see an additional, we call it the post-purchase upsell or a one-click upsell, which means that all you have to do, they put like a crazy offer in front of you, like 40, 50% off, buy more of what you bought or buy a complimentary product. And all you have to do is click yes. And they've already had your credit card and they'll just charge it again. And then these guys have the ability to just ship that in the same packaging. So it saves them on shipping. They increase their AOV from, let's say I bought a $20 add-on, $100 to $120, and then that allows them to be more profitable, spend more money in Meta, etc. And then the other thing I do to take this to another level is I will upsell that same additional product if they don't buy it in a post-purchase email flow. So these are all like high-level tactics that brands do that dropshippers don't always think about, and that's why the guys that I coach crush it, because we do a lot of extra things. And again, that's why this is like a real business that we're building. We're not just like drop shipping a crappy product. We're building a brand over time. We start with drop shipping, then we get into branded drop shipping, and then we warehouse and we actually have a real brand that can grow, and we can have more product drops. It gets really, really exciting when you can build something that will last. And that's the only way that I teach, because I don't think that it's worth all your time and effort to drop ship a product for 3 months and then quit because Meta shut you down and then you have to start all over. But I think it's on. So let's talk about, and I told you this is going to be jam-packed, so you might have to pause it and come back later, but I promise you this is the most value you're going to get in one video if you stay with me. So let's talk about pop-ups. So in my brands and the brands that I consult on and coach on, our goal for email revenue is around 30%. Some brands, depending on the category, are more like 40, some are more like 20. But you need to have a pop, and it is crucial that you are constantly testing the pop-up because of that email revenue that I just talked about. So a portion of your paid Meta ads, they're not going to buy right now. So the next best thing you can do is get them to fill out something, enter their name and email, and that way you can follow them around and sell them stuff via email. Email is still very, very cheap, and very, very effective. We also do SMS. SMS is a little more expensive, so we are picky and choosy with our SMS, typically for product drops, big sales, and then emails fill in the gaps. But you should be, at the very least, have, when you start a brand on Shopify. And this is crazy because I talk to drop shippers every week that I'm helping that are trying to scale, they're stuck, and they have zero email flows. So you at least need an email, a welcome flow, which is what happens. You'd go into a welcome flow if you opt in here. You need a cart abandonment and a browse abandonment flow, which means, if you had a cart, hey, your cart's empty, come back, get this free gift, buy today. And then you need browse abandonment, which simply just means they looked at the product and then bounced. So again, you should have the minimum workflow, email flow set up, and like Klaviyo does a great job. It's very simple to set up those easy flows. You can always make them prettier later, but you do need, and I'll make a deep dive video about those email flows. There's definitely some sauce there to get more out of it. But at the very least, you want to have those live when you start. Otherwise, you're missing, like I said, 30% of your revenue. Like you can't compete with another person in your niche that has 30% of the revenue that you're not getting. That's the difference between winning and losing and starting over.